Hello, and right now we'll be covering UseState in React. UseState is a React hook, and if you've learned other languages before, such as JavaScript or Python, it will cover the role of a variable. To create a state, we first need to import it. Here we have a very basic component that is empty inside, so we can go on the top of it in the import React, comma, and write in curly brackets UseState. Next, we use the following syntax: const number set number equals UseState 0. Here we give our state a name, number, so this is essentially the variable, and a function, set number. Set number is a function that is used to define a new value for number. Notice that we've written it over here, above the return statement. Anything inside the return statement is essentially HTML. Anything above it is JavaScript or React hooks. Now let's actually let ourselves see this variable. Inside the div, we can say number in curly brackets. We can open our terminal by clicking View and Terminal and run a local server. And control click into it. Currently, we cannot see anything. Let's see why that is. That is because we've written this in curly brackets, not in square ones. If we change it like this, everything will work. Now we'll be able to see a 0. So this is essentially an array. You can also create UseState much more easily if you have this extension over here. In that case, you can simply write UseState and click on UseState snippet and create your function and variable like this. But currently, the state is useless because we simply show it, but we can't do anything with it. So let's add a number, a button, to be able to change this number. A button like this, and a second one over here. We can also go into this div and add some class names. Flex dash row gap dash 5 text dash 20 pixels or even 30. We can add a button of minus and a button of plus. For a button to be clickable, we need to add an attribute called OnClick. In these curvy brackets, we add the callback function. So normal brackets, and after them an arrow, like this. In here, we can use our set number function to define a new value for number. Set number plus 1, or rather minus 1 in this case. So every time we click it, number will become lower by 1. We can demonstrate it here, and as you can see, it works. To add the plus button, it is very simple. We simply copy this and change all the minuses to pluses, like this. Now, when we click plus, the number will become bigger. If we click minus, it becomes smaller. If we reload the page, the number goes to its default value. You don't have to set the default value as 0. You can set it as whatever you want, for example 5. And if you go back, the default value will be 5. So every time we reload, the value goes back to the default one, which in this case is 5. So yeah, these were the basics of UseState. There are much more uses for it. This is simply a showcase of how it's used.